There.
You look very handsome. The tie is better. Fix it. It's on the desk. You can leave that here, can't I? Yeah. Which one of these is mine? This one's Michelle. So as you say, you have to put the flat in. Why can I have a flat? Okay, great. Michelle. I'm going to roll it shit. Do you know how flat I should hold it? Just
the worst is stepping on it.
Yeah, I won't step on it. I'm just more concerned. Sorry.
No, I know you're right. It's just that I
don't know the
answer.
Michelle, are you going to be walked in this with that?
Okay, so you need to stand here.
Yeah, so I have just give it a few. This is Michelle's house.
Okay.
And this is a perfect ask-me.
Perfect. You want the registrar to hold them, you don't want to carry them down.
Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon. First of all, on behalf of Valerie, the registrar, and myself, Owen, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to you all to Portmierion on this very special occasion to celebrate the marriage of Adam and Michelle. Now, the Hercules Hall here in Portmierion has been duly sanctioned according to law for the celebration of marriages. You are here to witness the joining in matrimony of Adam Robert Gibson Reid to Michelle Dawn LaFortune. However, if any person present does have any lawful impediment to this marriage, then he or she should declare it now. I'll quickly carry on. So the purpose of marriage is that you always love, care for, and support each other through the joys and sorrows of life, and that love may be fulfilled in a relationship of permanent and loving commitment. Now, marriage joins two people who trust the love that they have found. It is a partnership in which each can grow and be their true selves while sharing in the development of the other. It is a statement to all those around them of what the two of them know, namely that they have found such love, friendship and support that they wish to share for the rest of their lives. This marriage ceremony provides opportunity to bring friends and family together in one place, to impart this message of love and commitment, and for everyone here today to celebrate the happiness of the married couple. Your marriage can become a work of art in which both of you together give it line and form, colour and tone. You will be challenged every day to make your marriage work. If you do, it can become a thing of beauty, a joint creation of aesthetic splendour and enduring value. Marriage is perhaps the greatest and most challenging adventure of human relationships. No ceremony can create your marriage, only you can do this, through love and patience, through dedication and perseverance, through talking and listening, through supporting and believing in each other, through tenderness and laughter, through learning to forgive, learning to appreciate your differences, and by learning to make the important things matter and to let go of the rest. A successful marriage is one where each partner understands the other, where their love flourishes and grows, and as time goes on, strengthens and develops. So you have come here today to share in the commitment that Adam and Michelle are making, to offer your love and support to this union, and to allow them to start their married life surrounded by the people dearest to them. And before I continue with the marriage ceremony, Kevin is going to read, well, I don't know what it is, but he's going to do a reading. Adam and Michelle, thank you. And I will love you always.
And I will love you always.
Now before I bring the ceremony to a close, we're going to have reading by Chelsea.
I seem to have loved you in numberless forms, numberless times, in life after life, in age after age, forever. My spellbound heart has made and remade a necklace of songs that you take as a gift, wear around your neck in your many, many forms, in life after life, in age after age, forever. Whenever I hear old chronicles of love, its age-old pain, its ancient tale of being apart or together, as I stare on and on into the past, in the end you emerge. Clad in the light of a pole star, piercing the darkness of time, you become an image of what is remembered forever. you and I have floated here on the stream that brings from the fount. At the heart of time, love of one for another. We have played alongside millions of lovers, shared in the same shy sweetness of meeting, the same distressful tears of farewell. Old love, but in shapes that renew and renew forever. Today it is heaped at your feet. It has found its end in you. The love of all man's days, both past and forever. Universal joy, universal sorrow, universal life. The memories of all loves merging with this one love of ours, and the songs of every poet, past and forever.
Adam and Michelle, let's hope that this day will form a milestone in your lives to look back upon with love and happiness. May the feelings of love that you have for one another deepen and grow even stronger throughout the years to come. It now gives me great pleasure to announce you are now husband and wife. However, they're not legally married until they sign the marriage registry. So would you like to be seated? Yeah.
It's a good song.
That's where he belongs.
Cake, guys.
Okay, I'm already looking at it. Oh my god! Oh, this is amazing. Yes! Wow.
What do you think of this cake, guys?
Wow, he's giving me a nose job. I love it. Oh, adorable. This is amazing. Wow. Good? Okay. Yeah, we're going to cut it up.
So we're going to some speeches now.
Now we're now the speeches, everybody. All right. Have enough to drink. Not yet. Tough shit, if not. Here we are. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah, we'll get away with it. Okay, here we go. Thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you all for coming today to helping to make Adam and Michelle's wedding day such a memorable and special occasion for all those involved. I want to say a particular welcome to Michelle's dad, Michael, and her maid of honour, her sister, Chelsea, who have flown over here from Canada. So welcome. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Scott and I am Adam's brother. And yes, it was me, I drew the short straw. I mean, I was here today to have a great honour to be asked to be best man. I'm sure you will all agree that Michelle looks absolutely stunning. And Adam just looks stunned. Seriously, I was both delighted and honoured to be chosen. Though I must confess to being a little bit nervous when it comes to public speaking. This is the 6th time today that I've got up from a warm seat with a few sheets of paper in my hand. I believe my responsibilities today were to ensure that the groom arrives on time, sober and looking good. I think 2 out of 3 isn't bad. After all, I'm the best man, not a plastic surgeon. I must also add that Chelsea and Michelle's other bridesmaid, Lindsay, where are you, Lindsay? Did a fantastic job today as well. So Kevin Bain in the corner, well done for your speech earlier today. So what do we know about Adam? Well, for a start, on my 9th, I was about 9 years old, and my parents got me a brother. Actually, I wanted a puppy, but I got a brother instead. You know, it's hard to believe that on the day that Adam was born, and for those of you who are old enough to remember this, that the pop song in the charts was actually Police with Message in a Bottle. Would you believe that's 38 years ago? Right. I remember the day that Adam was born. My dad was actually at Portmierion Stadium watching Adam play football. When I say that he was watching football, actually he was in the toilet. Which, for those, Michelle, as you know, the Reids spend most of the time peeing. So I'm afraid, welcome to the family. Tommy, where are you? Thank you very much. I remember when the call came on the tannoy, actually, I'm told, that actually Adam was going to be born. So goodness gracious, he was a drama before he was even born. As an older brother, I am so proud of Adam. And although it's fair to say that opposites we are completely different, fair to say, I love him very much. I will never forget how he used to call me Socky instead of Scott. I wanted to carry out my speech today in a slightly different from the usual, and you know, a picture can say 1,000 words. And so let's just take a few minutes to look at a very young and youngish Adam at play. So we're going to let Andrew sort that one out. Sorry, everyone my last voice. Let's keep it on. There's Adam, one of his first pictures. I shot JR. Look at this. Look at all the deodorants at the side.
It's not changed.
Nothing's changed at all, is it? Big Andrew, do you remember it?
No, you're hobby. You're hobby, Dave. We're talking about it.
Adam posing.
No.
We were both hungover that night in the sugar. Absolutely. Now that's a proper dog. That's advantage. Almost there.
Alright, start it with your. It's a bit. Good luck for
Oh, thank you so much.
And what can you say to that then?
Thank you so much.
We have many stories about the things that Adam has been up to. Some I can talk about, some I certainly can't talk about. I am reminded about the time that in order to try and save some money, which is a good thing that Adam's good at, I remember he managed to hide in the train toilet between Aberdeen and Inverness to avoid buying a ticket. If that wasn't bad enough, he was actually hiding in the toilet with a Hoover. He was moving up to Newhouse. The Hoover was with him in the toilet. Did you get caught?
Might have done.
You might have done. And knowing you, I'm sure you managed to get your way out of it. Additionally, I remember the time I hear from cousin Kevin, he was telling me about how he went to see Aberdeen play football, and he was with Katie and my dad. And once again, Adam, always looking for a good deal, insisted that Kevin and Katie were students, I understand, at the age of 27, and he got my dad to dress up as an OEP just to get the reduced rate. Michelle, there is a theme here, and you need to be careful. You know, that I heard there was a sweepstake going on about the length of my speech this evening, so I bid on 1 hour, so good luck in that. No, seriously, I'm almost there. When Adam introduced me to Michelle, I thought, my goodness, isn't she beautiful? Don't get me wrong, it wasn't enough to turn me back from the dark side, but she is absolutely stunning. I think one thing's very clear. They are a perfect match for each other. They are an amazing pair together, and you can tell that they love each other. So I am honoured, Michelle, that you have become my sister-in-law, and you're part of the Reid clan. And I'm going to end, it's a lot of speeches tonight, but I end in a traditional way with a toast. So I need you please to make sure that your glasses are charged, and you join me in toasting the new Mr. and Mrs. Reid, ladies and gentlemen, to the bride and groom. Right, okay. 1 down, 12 to go. Now, I'm delighted to introduce our maid of honour, Chelsea, who's got a speech to tell. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thanks for that warm welcome after the earlier unpleasantness. Poor Chelsea. We love you. It was what Adam would love. That was an amazing speech. Thank you so much. And thank you all for coming and sharing in this wonderful celebration of love and coming together, family and friends from near and far. I'm Michelle's little sister, Chelsea, and I've been given the amazing opportunity to be Michelle's matron of honor. I am grateful to be able to come up here and say a few words about Michelle and our family. First things first, and I don't want to go too far down this road because I don't want to make Michelle cry, but I want to acknowledge the importance of our mother to both of our formative lives. Our beautiful and courageous mom passed away a little over 5 months ago after 39 years of hard-fought battles with multiple sclerosis. Our mom gave us the gift of music, and we have both developed those gifts in our own ways. We both love to sing. Michelle writes a lot of music, and I like to play guitar and be a bit more casual, but singing binds us. Our mother gave us another gift, and that is the gift of unwavering determination. We both strive for our goals, sometimes to our own detriment, but damn it, we get shit done. Never was our mom's determination more evident than during our young lives. She never let her MS stop her from giving my sister and I every opportunity, indulging every interest and hobby. And she never stopped trying for herself. She was always finding new ways to fight the never-ending war on her symptoms. During the time Michelle, Dad, and I spent together after Mom's passing, going through photos and recounting fond memories, it became clear to me that even though her fight is over, she didn't lose. She never conceded defeat. She won because she had a husband who cared for her every day. And daughters who loved her fiercely. And in a way, her passing has brought us even closer together, just what she would have wanted. Okay. But now what you've all been waiting for, stories of Michelle's youth. I can give you a rare glimpse into young Michelle's life, and I intend to profit well from this story when it becomes famous. Michelle's always had a big impact on me. I mean, literally, one time when we were young and fighting, she got so mad at me, she swung her duffel bag full of dance gear at me and hit me in the forehead with a well-placed tap shoe.
I know there was a tap shoe in there.
Michelle has always been extremely driven, obviously particularly with dancing. Our mom tried to get me into dancing, but it was never really for me. I wanted to try literally everything else and didn't stick to much. But dancing got a hold of Michelle at a very young age, and she hasn't lost any of her drive for it. If anything, it's only intensified over the years, and as she's come into her own and figured out the direction of her career. And it's been so amazing to see you doing so many great things with your gifts, with that unflailing and unfettered amount of energy and drive. As it probably was for most siblings, Michelle and I have always very much looked forward to the Christmas holidays.
Ah, yeah.
We would count down to the arrival of Santa with our daily ration of Advent calendar chocolate, being extremely strict in not ever sneaking any extras, which was hard because Mom always bought the good stuff. When the big morning came, it was usually Michelle who was up first, dutifully waiting until precisely 6 a.m., which was the earliest allowable wake-up time per our parents' rules. Michelle would come wake me, excited for what was to come. I always pretended to be asleep still, allowing myself to indulge a fantasy that I was the more mature one of these two. We would creep down the hall towards the living room, which we knew housed untold treasures. Literally, like. Not looking. Not looking. Okay, sorry. It's kind of your speech. We always opened our stockings in our parents' bedroom before opening presents. But from our bedrooms down the hall, we could see the tree and its bounty. So we were very careful to cover our eyes and be in and out of the living room, quickly retrieving our stockings with all the stealth of a ninja so as not to spoil the full effect of the mountain of presents beneath the tree. This annual ritual became one I looked forward to every year, as it was a special act just for Michelle and I alone. But we did a lot together with family and friends. Dad would take us out on his boat fishing, even though we protested most of the time. Or I did anyway. Mom would take us on more hotel-centric adventures. Michelle and Jenny Mockett were best friends, and I was best friends with her younger sisters, Hannah and Victoria. And they were a close-knit family, and so were we. And so we ended up spending a lot of time together. Jenny and Michelle always included us in games that they played. Some of my favorite memories were in the clubhouse that my dad built for us in our basement. It was a plywood construction sandwiched between this chimney and the wall next to our stairs. Our club motto was, "We're here to have fun, not to be mean." We even had a theme song, but I won't get into that. There was a rap component to the theme song. It was really progressive. Michelle was very progressive. Michelle and Jenny were really leaders of that club, and they took almost a teacher role on where they would arrange little field trips and activities for us to do. One of our favorite excursions was to the beach that was down the road from our houses. It wasn't a nice beach. It was a very rocky beach, but we had fun down there. Often to our parents' chagrin, we would load up buckets of sea life and bring them back to the house and then forget about them. And then when the poor creatures died and started stinking, our dad would have to drive the mess back down to the ocean. We would go on hikes to the park together and bike rides, and it was all very fun. Michelle always tried to make things fun for me, and she was always looking out for me. I'll never forget this one day that Michelle decided suddenly that I had a pretty strong unibrow. You know those cold wax strips things that you put together and then pull apart? So I think that the impetus for this event was that she had just bought some of those and used them on herself, and they worked so well, she looked around for other victims. So she decided that mine needed to go, and I was of a differing opinion. And so a chase ensued around our house, which ultimately I was the loser of. And she literally pinned me down while I struggled to relieve me of the unibrow. Which at the time I really hated you for, but looking back at some of the photos, I know you had my best interests at heart, and I appreciate you having done that. Because it hadn't occurred to me that this might be an issue for me socially, and I was about to start high school. So thank you. Sort of. Michelle said in her speech at my wedding that she got too cool to hang out with me once we hit high school. But I never really felt that way. Obviously we had our times when Michelle was being a bit of a diva. Her words, not mine. But I think many sisters in the world would say the same. Most of the time in high school she was doing her thing and I was doing mine, and that was fine. By the time I got to high school, Michelle and her friends had formed a popular crowd and were considered to be the upper echelon of pretty girls, especially by guys in my grade. I was always a bit of a wallflower, and I caught a lot of flack from guys who would try to get my number so they could call her. But don't feel too bad for me, I did okay. extremely outgoing, well-liked, and she loves to make new friends. And it's always been really important to her to include me in her social life, even though in my younger years I resisted. That went for our parents too. It's always been important to her to have us close. She was never one of those secretive teens, you know, like sneaking off and getting into trouble. She would get in trouble right out in the open. She wanted us all to go to the party, or she wanted to have a party at our house so we could all be together. When she was out at a party, often she would call my parents and talk for a while and pass the phone around to her friends so they could talk to them as well. And I know that more than a few of her friends had long and impactful conversations with her mom during the party when she was still alive. There was one time when Michelle being in the popular crowd worked out really well for me. When I was in grade 9, and Michelle would have been in grade 11, I was getting bullied by a girl in my grade. One day it got so bad that I actually went to Michelle and I told her what was going on. She could see how upset I was. She became my superhero. At lunchtime that day, she went and rounded up all of her hottest, most popular girlfriends, and they went and confronted my bully in the cafeteria in front of the whole school.
Yay!
Yeah. True. I can't say that my bully left me completely alone after that, but it actually did make a difference. And just the fact that my sister was willing to defend me like that from somebody who was making my life a living hell at the time has meant a lot to me over the years. And that's something that has never changed. Michelle is fiercely loyal, even when I was being a brat to her. And over the years, our relationship has only gotten closer, and I really value that. So much so that she was part of many of my firsts, like a big sister should be. She gave me my first real alcoholic drink, surprise. A screwdriver made from one of her older friends. And she took me to this Italian restaurant that used to be in downtown called Manzavino's. Oh, do you remember that? Where they served us paralyzers without asking for ID. And I thought Michelle was the coolest. One time my friend Josh and I were over at her place, and Michelle and I went out late at night to get some beer.
Oh, God.
Upon our return to her ground floor apartment, she returned to me and drunkenly said, "We were both drunk. It was both drunk. Okay, the landlady is really strict about us going across the hall, so we have to be really quiet." And literally, across the lawn, both of us. We tiptoed across the lawn like a couple of cartoon characters trying to contain our laughter. And when Michelle tripped over the cement retaining wall in front of her patio and sprawled on the pavement below, screaming, her landlord lived directly above her and shone a spotlight down on us as we tried to apologize through heaves of hysterical laughter. And it was one of those insanely funny moments in my entire life.
Oh my God.
In addition to the silliness and fun and drama of sisterhood, Michelle had a big heart. She did my hair and my makeup for prom and made me feel absolutely gorgeous. She stood with me at my wedding, giving a powerful and beautiful speech about our lives together that resulted in more than 1 or 2 tears. She's also given me some really valuable life lessons, which often surprised me as I was imagining myself to be the more serious one of us. In fact, in one simple moment, Michelle taught me one of the most important lessons of my life, one that I carry with me and reflect on often, and which I use to inform my work. Our family is in the habit of giving money in greeting cards, in addition to gifts we would receive for our birthday or Christmas. Our mama and papa, mom's mom and dad, gave different amounts depending on what occasion it was. They would give more if it was your birthday, etc. Anyway, it made it difficult to gauge what you might get for money from one year to the next. So we opened when we were 12 or 14, I think. We were over at Mama and Papa's house and we each got a card. And we opened our cards and I was anticipating the money inside. I remember expecting at least $50 and maybe even more. We opened them and inside each card was a crisp $20 bill. I looked down at the card in disappointment and exclaimed, $20. Michelle immediately whipped around and said, "Don't say that, you should be grateful to get anything." I felt embarrassed and upset at being chastised by my older sister, and also glad that no one was around to witness the exchange. But that moment has stuck with me. I reflect on it often, and the lesson that I learned is not to take generosity for granted. We were lucky enough to be a part of a family that was able to provide not only the basic necessities of life, but also to give us other opportunities, like enrolling us in dance or karate or singing, and giving us wonderful gifts at holidays and our birthdays. I understand all too well that we lived a life of privilege in that way, and I am grateful, because I know that not every family can give their children what we got. I'm grateful for anything and everything that I get, and I'm humbled every day by the generosity of others. And I have Michelle to thank for having the awareness and maturity that I didn't in that moment. Michelle was here last summer for her grandfather's 90th birthday and was asked to sing some songs for the occasion. She practiced them in front of her mom, who lay in bed peacefully as she did most days back then, due to her failing health. Mom was always so proud of Michelle and her performing. She was Michelle's biggest fan and smiled her big, beautiful smile as Michelle belted out Papa's favorites by Frank Sinatra and Louis Armstrong. I was fortunate enough to be there and participate, and it proved to be one of the last times we would all be together, and I cherish the memory of it. It's almost over. That same trip, Adam recruited my dad and I to help him with a surprise proposal to Michelle. He had meticulously planned the whole thing, coming over when Michelle was already here and staying at a hotel so as not to spoil the surprise. He planned it for the morning of our Papa's birthday, as all the family would be there together, and asked my dad and I to make sure they would all come out on the front lawn at the right time. And I think, and I know, my dad and I were way more nervous than he was to pull it off. We got Michelle and the family out on the lawn where a violinist played their song for us. Then Adam came up the street in his full Highland dress, carrying a Scottish thistle in one hand and Michelle's beloved stuffed dog Smoochie in the other, accompanied by the traditional sounds of the bagpipe. It was one of the most beautiful and romantic experiences I have been a part of. Obviously, aside from today, which has been amazing. And was reflective of the way Adam always is with Michelle. Thoughtful, devoted, and full of surprises. He's always inventing new and original ways to make her feel special, while at the same time being the practical and organized partner Michelle needs, as evidenced largely by this beautiful event. I'm sure Michelle helped too. She arrived on time at least. I got a costume. Anyway, I know this speech was really long, but I just couldn't leave any of these special pieces out, and I thank you all for bearing with me. I wish you and Adam all the love and success in the world in whatever path we choose together.
Thank you, Julie. All right, guys, have a drink break. We're gonna get a mic set up for my dad. So you guys can all please, yeah, go to the bar, have a drink break.
Also, pray silence, everyone. Pay attention and listen to my father-in-law. I have to be sharp like that, otherwise he'll give me a clip in the ear. So here we go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Laporte, and I'm the father of the bride, Michelle.
Hold it up like that. Yeah, just all the way up.
I'm obviously not a performer. I'm very proud of Michelle, proud of the way she has grown up and the life she has made for herself here in London, England. She is a determined, courageous, and adventurous spirit who is embracing life with gusto. A huge part of her spirit and character was due to the love and support and guidance of her mother Cheryl. As most of you know, we lost Cheryl to a long fight with MS in January of this year. I want to take a moment now to honor her memory and to remember her dedication and achievement and acknowledge the fierce determination with which she led her life, and to acknowledge the skills she displayed in raising of our two wonderful daughters, Michelle and Chelsea. She was the main driving force in their young lives and did a wonderful job. I learned something just recently that was between Cheryl and Michelle that I would like to share with you now. When Cheryl was too sick to travel, and when Michelle was performing, Cheryl would say to Michelle, "I can't be with you to see you perform today, but look for the fly on the wall. That will be me. Nothing can stop me from being with you in spirit." So tonight, as we celebrate this wedding of Michelle and Adam, I think of Cheryl, and I believe that her spirit is here with us. I must admit that I was a very proud father as I walked my daughter Michelle down the aisle today. Years ago, I had an accident which affected my walking, and in recent years, my walking had become less than normal. So Michelle has had me taking Pilates lessons twice a week since March to improve my mobilities. And the lessons have helped. I am better now than I was in January. You know, I really am. But so mission accomplished, and a little shout out to Pilates. I know that some of you have traveled a long distance to be here for this evening, and for a lot of people, that long distance was the drive from London or other parts of Great Britain to Wales. But for some, the travel included a flight across the North American continent and over the Atlantic. People I want to introduce to you are the ones that made that journey. And Michelle's sister Chelsea and I flew from Nanaimo, BC, as far away from London you can get and still be in Canada. From roughly the middle of Canada, Ottawa, about 5 hours from my place, my little brother Gordon and his wife Sandra are with us here tonight.
There's nothing little bit Gordon, is there?
Okay. Michelle's cousin Jan, who started out in Nanaimo, lived in Arizona, Spain, and a couple other places, and now lives in London, is here with his wife Katerina. There are, of course, other people whom I don't know yet, who have also made the long journeys to be here. So I say welcome to all of you. Very glad that you all made the trip. I would like to tell you a little bit about Michelle as she was growing up. The part of Nanaimo we lived in turned out to be more of a retirement area. There were only a few families living nearby with kids in Michelle's age group. The few kids that lived there soon found each other and spent all their time playing together. Michelle was one of the older kids, and she and her friends, Jenny, organized the remaining 6 or so to all kinds of activities: tag, hide and seek. We had a swing set, and a round above ground pool. The kids would run inside the pool around the edge and get the water to form a whirlpool, and then they would change direction and try to go against the current, all the while laughing and shrieking. They all had a great time. Throughout this time, Michelle always looked out for Chelsea. She was very protective of her little sister. There were many examples of this, but the one that stuck in my mind happened when they were both very young. Michelle was 7, Chelsea was 5. This is what happened. The day before the first day of school, when Michelle was about to enter grade 2 and Chelsea was starting kindergarten, the two girls were in Michelle's room and I looked in to see what they were doing. Michelle was teaching Chelsea what she thought was most important for her to know on the first day of school. So Michelle had 2 flashcards in her hands, one in each hand, and she was showing them to Chelsea one at a time. So I looked at what was on the flashcards. On one was a drawing of a door with boys written on it. And on the other was a card with the same card with the word girls written on it. Yes, basic information, but very important. The mistake of entering the wrong bathroom never happened. So as the school years flew by, girls were engaged in lots of school activities. Chelsea tried her hand at all kinds of musical and sports activities, while Michelle was focused mainly on performing arts, singing, acting, but mainly dancing. Cheryl was a huge support in all of these activities and really kept the kids' spare time full of wonderful learning experiences. When Michelle graduated from school, she wanted to continue her love of performing, so she enrolled in a 2-year program at the Randolph School of Performing Arts in Toronto. That is alumni.
Go for it.
The training she received started her on the pathway to fulfilling her dream to be a performer. After graduation, she got a contract to perform on a cruise ship where she met with other young people on the same career path as she, and the interaction with these performers led her to decide that London was the place she should be, and she moved there and has been there for about 10 years. She has done a lot of gigs and shows in Great Britain and in Europe. Also started and managed a monthly show called Gigging For It that was held mainly at the Freedom Bar in London. It was a show, It was a show where the performers, including Michelle, got a chance to showcase their material in front of live audience for a cut of the door. The shows ran for more than a year. It was after one of these shows that Adam walked into the bar and first met with Michelle. Cheryl and I were, of course, 5,000 miles away, so over time we got bits of information about Adam and their growing relationship, and we finally got to meet Adam in person one Christmas when they came to Nanaimo for a visit. We all got to know each other and had a great time. Later in that year or the next, Michelle got a lead role in a musical called Superman, the musical as Lois Lane. It was performed in Leicester Square Theatre in the Theatre District of London, and it was a highlight of her career to that point. Cheryl was not able to travel by that time, but she and I decided that it was important that Michelle had a parent there with her to see the shows live, so I went to England. Adam picked me up at the airport in his Ferrari. I was thoughtless enough to bring a suitcase.
What were you thinking?
It's he took me through London at extremely high speed. It was a thrill ride I will never forget. I was holding on with both hands. My foot was slammed against an imaginary breakpoint on my side of the car as we rode past points of interest London has to offer. That's Big Ben. The power of London. And we ended the drive with a long drive through through a long curving tunnel that I'm pretty sure went under the Thames River. It was late in the evening, there was no other traffic in there, and he had it in second or third and wound right out. And, oh man, the howl of that engine burned into my brain. Wow, that was impressive. Hard not to like the guy. Hey, Adam is the guy with the flavor for the dramatic. Yeah. He also is a traditional kind of guy. When he wanted to propose for Michelle, he picked the time when Michelle was visiting with Cheryl and I in Nanaimo, and he made the long journey in secret from London to Nanaimo, where he asked me for my daughter's hand in marriage, which I really appreciate that. And the next day he proposed to Michelle with a very elaborate proposal. You've all heard the highlights of it from Chelsea, so I won't repeat it now. But those of you who want more details, I suggest you buy Adam a drink of good whiskey, and I'm sure you will enjoy hearing him tell the rest of the story.
Yeah. Almost there.
In January of this year, when Cheryl passed away, Michelle and Adam came over to Canada as our whole family came together, as families do at these times of sorrow. For myself, I want to say how much having my family above me at that time meant to me. My daughters organized a celebration of life for Cheryl that was beautiful and honored the memory of Cheryl and her life. We all spoke, including Chelsea's husband Jared, Michelle's fiance at that time Adam, and myself, among others. The memory of the event is very special to me, and I will never forget it. I was very moved that Adam made the long trip to be with us there. It meant a lot to me, and I'm sure to Michelle. I feel very proud and blessed to have such a wonderful family. It was true that Cheryl and I had a different kind of marriage. Throughout our 34 years of marriage, we had some significant challenges. There were ups and downs, but through it all, we always had a strong relationship as a married couple, but in addition to that, we were friends. I think that friendship in a marriage is underrated. It should always be considered an important part of the relationship. When a bumpy stretch is encountered in the marriage, the friendship part of the marriage is one more layer of connection between the couple, and it's, I think, a least demanding part of the relationship to maintain, and therefore very valuable. My wish for Michelle and Adam is that their relationship continues to grow in the way it has since they met, and they are always husband, wife, lovers, and friends. And now it is my pleasure to toast the happy couple. I ask you to stand and raise your glasses.
Like standing after that.
No, this is okay. Okay. Here's to Michelle and Adam. May their marriage grow with love, peace, happiness, and shared accomplishments. May their hopes and dreams for a future together be fulfilled, and may they have friendship always. To the bride and groom, Mr. and Mrs. Reid. Thank you.
It's my turn. All right. Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me? It's a little bit loud, but oh well, that's all right. No, that's okay. I'll just hold it down a little bit. That's fine. Okay, so while I'm waiting for this thing to load up, gotta love technology. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much for the speeches so far. My computer's still not coming on. So I guess I'm ad-libbing, which I'm really terrible at, so buckle up, kids. Okay, so Adam had a whole bunch of stuff that he wanted me to talk about today. Oh, son of a, come on, are you kidding me?
Michelle, I'll just go now.
Okay, you go. I'll close.
5 hours married, I'm already making decisions that'll suit us for the rest of our lives.
Oh, wait.
Oh, come on. No, you punch your shot. You good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go. Okay, I think.
I've been told.
Compromise is a really important part of it.
Yeah, do you remember all these things?
Got the wheel, the Mac wheel of doom going on here. Okay, just go. Oh, here it is. Hey, okay. Great.
We'll get there.
I'm gonna come over here. Get out of the way, boys. All right. I need some space for the stress. Okay, so, thank you. Okay, so I know it's not customary for the bride to give a speech, but no one can get me off the mic at the best of times, let alone on my wedding day. So here I am. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, there are so many things I could say about Adam in this speech, but I'll try and keep it brief. The day after we met, he sent me the text message with a link to that article of him being this oil superhero. It was one of the first texts he ever sent me, and I thought it was not only very impressive, but also really funny and sweet that he sent it. He wanted to make sure that I knew I was being pursued by a bona fide hero, which is adorable. We had incredible times together driving around in his Ferrari with the top down, blasting boy band classics, of course. He spoiled me rotten by taking me to Spitbank Fort, our little private island hotel, and he was looking at me and he said, "You're gonna make the most beautiful bride." He wasn't wrong. And the same night he told me he loved me for the first time when we were having dinner together, and it was just the most romantic thing ever. He's been to almost every show and every gig I've ever done since we met, and he always has flowers. In fact, he brings me home flowers all the time for no reason. He really gets the flower thing. He's always aiming to make me feel like a princess. He brags about me relentlessly to anyone who will listen, to the point where I jokingly call him my dance mom. There have been countless surprises, gifts, concerts, fun events. He's always got something exciting planned for us to do. Even wandering around town with nothing to do is fun because he's so spontaneous and creative. And if you haven't seen the video of the proposal yet, oh my God, watch it because it's another level. But we won't go into that because that is literally a huge other story. So today I want to just go right back to the beginning. Now, I've always had this superstition that couples need to have a really good meeting story if they're going to make it. My parents had one. My parents had one. My new in-laws have one. So that's why when I met Adam 4.5 years ago on a Monday night at 2 a.m. in January in a gay bar, I knew we were onto a good thing. I had been performing that night earlier with friends, and there was a big group of about 10 of us hanging out at the table at the front entrance, and in walks Adam with all the people that he was out with that night, And they were on their way somewhere else, but decided to come into Freedom Bar just by chance. And Adam spotted me at the table and did one of these. And so I did one of these. And then he went on his way. And then a minute later, he came walking back over to the table, and he introduced himself to me and handed me a little scrap of paper with his name and number on it. He grabbed a piece of paper from the receipt thing from the bar or something, and written his name and number, scribbled it down. And at the time, I was sitting next to this woman called Brenda, who's this amazing powerhouse diva. And while Adam went to introduce himself to me, Brenda ripped the piece of paper out of his hand and started grilling him with questions, firing questions at him. And at this point, everyone that we were sitting with at the table had the full attention. And Adam was just so charming and impressive with the way that he handled himself. And I was so impressed, and I was blown away, and I couldn't believe it was all happening for me. It was thrilling and magical. We'd only been together, we'd only been seeing each other for about 10 days before he had to leave to go back to Iraq to work. And that forced separation right off the bat was actually a really cool thing, because it meant we sat together and Skyped for hours on end, talking and really getting to know each other. And during those long talks, we discovered that there were a few really crazy coincidences where we might have actually met each other before the day that we did. For example, there had been this particular small town in Wales, not this one, different one, where Adam had been on holiday, and 2 weeks later I had been in that same small town in Wales, just coincidentally. Or even crazier, he was in holiday in Cyprus, and then again 2 weeks later, I was 2 weeks late, I was there in Cyprus at the exact same hotel as him. We were staying in the hotel, same hotel. And there were a few other things as well. It was pretty spooky, and it all just felt like fate, like this was all just inevitable. But those weren't the right moments for whatever reason. And Adam once described our meeting by saying it was like somebody placed you here, and somebody placed me over here, and then they just let us go and watched us come together. And I really loved that. And even though there have been periods of my life where I've lost faith, I've always been a pretty spiritual person. And when I met Adam, we were discovering all these synchronicities, and it felt like deep down we were destined to meet each other. And strangely, like, maybe we've done this all time after time and life after life. And that's what I love to believe anyway. So, way back then, right at the beginning, I wrote him this poem, which I felt totally vulnerable doing. I was used to playing it pretty cool when I was dating, and usually careful not to show any emotion, but Adam's a guy who likes to wear his heart on his sleeve, and that's an understatement, of course, for anyone who's ever even had a brief conversation with him. So it was scary, but it also felt really right and really safe writing something so deep and soul-bearing for him. And this poem was about how maybe we've followed each other around the world for ages, inadvertently, without even realizing it, having however many unknown close encounters to meet each other, and also about the possibility of having lived many lifetimes together, and every time we start over, all the choices we make are designed to lead us back together. It's our destiny. Anyway, I wrote this poem for Adam. It's sitting right outside there. I got it printed. He thought it was so big at the time that he was joking around calling it the billboard for ages. It's actually not very big at all, but anyway. So I got it printed for him and framed and gave it to him as a gift, and it hung on our wall ever since, where I doubt he's even thought much of it until I'm speaking about it now. So today I'm going to sing that poem for you. And I'm going to invite my friend Toby up to accompany me. Toby and I have been having a secret rendezvous. Ooh. He's written a beautiful accompaniment to play it with me. So get your tissues, Adam. Huh? Adam wants something to drink. Now, Adam, come on, you got to sing your goddamn song. Come on. Okay. All right, here we go. Come up here with me, Toes. All right. Okay, thank you. Here we go. Don't fuck it up. Yeah.
How many times have our paths intersected and been redirected 'cause the moment wasn't right? How many times have we followed each other, not knowing the other was just out of sight? Baby, we even exchanged a look, held the door, asked for the time, unaware. Just a few words more would have taken us into sublime. How many times did we drink in the same bar, fly on the same plane, swap lanes in our cars, missing each other by seconds or minutes or weeks or months, and now here we are, all our lives we've been on our way to each other. And finally knocked on the door. You are who I've been waiting for. You are who I've been waiting for. Perhaps we've already spent lifetimes together and have done this all before. Every time we start again, we're pulled together from our core. You make me grateful for every hard lesson this life has put me through. Every corner I turned, every bridge that I've burned, every scar that I've earned has led me to you. All our lives we've been on our way to each other. You finally knocked on my door. You are who I've been waiting for. You are who I've been waiting for.
Toby, ladies and gentlemen. Now I know, 4 years on, after writing this poem for you, that our meeting was inevitable. We were always going to be pulled back together. Every choice we made led us to that moment. And next time, it will all happen all over again. And the time after that, and the time after that, you are my one true soulmate. Always have been and always will be. And I'm so thankful that I get to spend my life with someone who supports me so wholeheartedly and challenges me to think bigger and be braver every day. The sky is the limit with you. And if it's true that we're here in this lifetime for the purpose of becoming better souls, then all that is proof for me that I'm supposed to be with you, my partner. Thank you for meeting me that night when one of us was just here and the other was just over there. And we took a few more steps. And and fulfilled our destiny. All our lives we've been on our way with each other. You finally knocked on my door. I'm not a wanderer anymore. My heart has been spoken for. You are who I've been waiting for. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
How do you follow that? Yes, I've got more. No. Okay, I'm conscious of the time. We've got to do some partying. So I'm going to cut some of my speech tonight and I'm going to extend some of my speech tonight. No. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my wife and I, thank you, dear. Welcome to Portmierion, the gorgeous wonderland that was the brainchild of Sir Clough Williams Ellis. He travelled the world and would see things he thought would look rather good in his large back garden and this little part of Wales. Now, why did we choose this beautiful venue? Well, a few years back we came here for a music festival, and each year in September, festival number 6 occurs, and we were just blown away by the beauty of the village. Imagine what you see today, surrounded by musicians, performers, acrobats and umpteen gorgeous additional things to this beautiful setting. If you're a fan like me, then some of you may know the 60s television show, The Prisoner. No, I'm not talking about the Australian version where some of the walls would wobble, but the British show where Patrick McGoon, fresh from playing a secret agent playboy in the show Danger Man, was kidnapped, held against his will, subjected to ear torture, and forced to do things he didn't want to do. Scott tells me this is a little like marriage, so I wish to thank you all for coming, of course. Our family and friends, Aberdeen, from Dundee, and Lincoln, and Birmingham, and London, of course, Italy. We thank you all in your faces here. We are absolutely bursting right now. Some of you have travelled from serious distances, as Michael has said. Obviously, Michael and Chelsea have come from Nanaimo, and Gordon and Uncle Gordon and Auntie Sandra have travelled from Canada, from Ottawa. And if I may, I would just like to obviously take a moment to mention those who can't be here. With the exception of Michelle's grandfather, Don, the rest of our grandparents have passed away, some of them quite recently. And my grandma Gibson, who it would have been her birthday on Monday, was also taken from us just recently. But namely Michelle's mum, Cheryl. Not only was she a brilliant mother, but she was an excellent teacher who excelled in music. And she helped hundreds of children in the community cope with everyday struggles of being a kid. We know when we were obviously, at the celebration of her life, I'm not joking when I say there was easily a couple hundred people there, and individually they'd all been touched by this woman in some way or another. Based on how Michelle has affected my life and how she affects everyone she meets, that doesn't surprise me. I'm sure you agree, along with her dad Michael, that they've both done an incredible job in raising two beautiful young ladies here. On a personal note, I was truly blessed to have met this beautiful, strong woman. My lasting memories was the fact that she loved the fact that I was Scottish, and that I was just about handsome enough for her daughter. Her smile was so bright it would have matched any sunrise. And as you can see today, the love, guidance, support and encouragement has ensured that my wife is without doubt a bloody rock star. Please let us raise the roof and remember those who can't be here. Obviously, I'd like to raise our glasses and thank our bridesmaids, Chelsea and Lindsay, who obviously both look stunning. I know my brother has thanked you already, but on an additional basis. Your roles today as a sister and a best friend. Michelle just adores you both. And personally, I thank you for making her smile. Both of you, thank you. Chelsea, I'm very excited to have you as a sister. As well as being there for Michelle, I want you to know that I will always be on hand to listen, to help. To give advice when you need it, make you the top of the list for cover when we need our kids babysat.
Love to. We'll just ship them over.
Yeah, we'll just ship them over. A little bit long, yeah. I'd also like to pay tribute, obviously, to my amazing father-in-law, Michael, an absolute gentleman, an incredible husband, a father, and a friend. We share the odd whiskey or two, which is always nice, as I wish to remind him how honoured I was. I wish to remind him how honoured I was that he met with me in Canada and gave his blessing to allow me to marry his daughter. I have to add, he nearly walked past me at first, as he didn't believe it was me that was standing in front of him. But agreed, he did. Maybe the bottles of whiskey that I keep bringing him do help in the negotiations. As part of the trade deal, I would like to give you a token.
Oh, right, stay.
You can say that we have to